Hi everyone, welcome to Caking at Midnight. Tonight we will be doing a impression mat to show a diamond pattern on the side of a cake. As always, don't forget to follow me on Instagram. It's at caking_at_midnight. As always, don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and always hit the bell for notifications. Okay, so we already have a crumb coated cake ready to go. If you'd like to see how I've done that, you can follow this link to see how I've done that before. But right now it's already crumb coated, ready to go, and we're gonna get ready to roll out our fondant. This time I'm going to use Satin Ice Pink. I think this is baby pink fondant, and I have already kind of kneaded it, ready to go. I use cooking spray on the counter. Like I said before, that is a preference that I use. I know a lot of people use cornstarch or powdered sugar. Once you lay the fondant on there, you want to make sure you're covering most all sides of the cake. And once it's on there, you can start cutting off quite a bit of excess so it's not pulling on your top edge. And I usually use my X-Acto knife, but I have forgotten to get those out. Okay, now that we have everything on here and it's fairly covered, I take a fondant smoother and just kind of go around the top a little bit, and then we're just going to fluff the sides and then slowly push that fondant to the cake. Just make sure it's smooth. Fondant is stretchy, so if you see a side that's supposed to be, or that's not flat and it gets real bunched up, just slightly pull it out and kind of start over. The most important part with this is to make sure you don't get frustrated. Take your time with it. If you do end up with any air bubbles, you can hit those with a pin to let the air out and then slowly push that fondant back up onto the cake. Once you've got it perfectly around where you want it, and then just slowly go around the base of your cake, getting it as close to the edge as you can, and pull off all the excess too. Now that we have everything the way we want on there, I like to let it set for just a hot second to make sure it's gonna sit where I want it. I am in the Midwest and we have a lot of problems with humidity. Cake's not setting and such for, so if you're having those kinds of issues, you can stick them in the fridge to kind of get them to harden up a little bit, but just know when you bring it back out, it will have some condensation. This fondant is slowly gonna harden. So when you go around it, if it's something you want to keep smooth, then just kind of keep going around it every once in a while and it'll slowly take your shape. I can kind of feel a bubble over here. We'll have to poke that bubble. So just keep watching it. These impression mats, you're not going to want it to dry too much yet because you want to make sure that you can push that pattern in there. These are some impression mats I got from CK Products. It comes in a, I believe, a 4-pack. A 4-pack. There's small diamonds, big diamonds, and squares in this one. I'm gonna use our big diamonds, and you'll have to watch it when you put it on. See the bigger diamonds there? When you put it on the cake, there's one side that sticks out a little bit more. Just make sure you're using the one with, so you make an impression on the cake. When you first get it out, you want the diamond to come up to the top of the cake to a point. So right there is the point, almost to the top. If I am to switch this around, it brings it up a little bit farther. So depending on the height of your cake, make sure you're using it whichever way you want that diamond to come closer to the top of the cake. 9 times out of 10, this may not come to a perfect point all the way around, so you might have a back edge. And if I do that sometimes, I'll just make it a seam, and then I can put little pearls or something down the back of it to kind of finish it off a little bit. I want my diamond to come to the very top. Now the buttercream under here is still fairly soft, but that's okay with this one because I want it to look a little bit more pillowy, like fluffy. So with the impression mat, hold it flat to your board and then just slowly go around and push that impression into your fondant. If you're having a little bit of trouble with the pressure of your hands to put it in there, you can use your fondant smoother, and it's on there just enough, a little bubble, on there just enough to where you can see it. We're gonna go back around with some tools to get a really good impression in there. So obviously that didn't go all the way around the cake, so you wanna match it up as best as you can, and then just slowly work your way around the cake. if you can see on the close up, but right here, there's like a 1/4 of an inch where it didn't quite get there. So when we get around to put our impression in there, we can either draw these out a little bit and make a big line here to kind of make it look like it goes all the way around the cake. And it's not a very deep impression, but like I said, we're gonna use some fondant tools. Now we wanna make sure that we can take our cake with those faint impression lines and push them in a little bit more so you have more of detail. So this is just a little fondant tool. There you go. Not anything special, but it's just something I use with a rounded tip on it to get more detail in the cake. You just want to slowly go around and push on those lines. With a soft cake, this can be very forgiving. There you can see where we came together at our last point. You can kind of go in between those last 2 lines and make them together. Pillow-like diamond pattern on the side of your fondant cake. Okay, now that our diamonds are done, we can get started on our bow. Okay, now we're gonna work on our bow that goes on the top, and then we'll go back to the cake after that and put our pearls on. So we want a black bow for the top. I have some more satinized fondant. You're gonna need to roll it out in strips and make sure that whether you're using cornstarch, powdered sugar, or the cooking spray like I do, just make sure that it's not sticking to the counter. Now on this one, I just want a fairly simple bow to sit upright on the cake. So that's how we're gonna do this one, with a couple tails dangling down. I already have my fancy ribbon cutter. I have 1.5 inches on there for the one and another inch. So just use pressure and push down, pull up what you definitely don't need. Sometimes since this is plastic, it doesn't get a very good edge on it. If I need it to have more of a crisp edge, I will take my X-Acto knife and trim a little bit off on the edges. So first you'll take a piece, and with our size cake, probably go a couple inches here. Leave that there for later. And on this one, you'll just want to fold it over. So I'm gonna make him just a little bit shorter. So your paper towel is gonna go in there and try and help keep its shape. Okay, so we're gonna start with we want a black ribbon for the top. And I have some black satinized fondant. I'm gonna put a little Tylose powder in there to help it dry a little bit faster so it can hold its shape. Just go ahead and get that all mixed in. It doesn't change the consistency of your fondant in any way, it just helps it dry faster. And I don't have any gum paste. Gum paste usually dries harder as well. Once you have all of that mixed in, then you can start rolling it out. And you want it about 1/8 of an inch thick. I have my fondant or my Wilton ribbon cutter, and just take that and apply pressure. So you want to take this side and fold it in. Forgot the most important part is your paper towel. Just fold that in, and depending on how you want it to bow out is how you'll put your paper towel in there. And that just helps give it its shape until it's fully dry. So and then on this one, you want to fold this one over as well. And I push them together in the center, and then you can kind of pinch it. And once you've pinched it, you kind of give that look as though the bow has been tied. And you can kind of take your finger and smooth out the edges on the bow if you need to. And then I always let them dry on just a board of some sort, or you can use wax paper. There is my fancy bow. Now, with the other piece, the first one I rolled out was 1.5 inches wide on the roller. The next one is 1 inch. And then you can make sure that it's about the right width for inside your bow. And on this one, you just need a small amount. And this is what you're gonna use to hold your bow together. Pretty bow? Pretty bow. Let him dry. You can speed up the process by putting this in the oven with the light on overnight, or I know some people have used some heat in the oven. They turn it on, they'll let it come up to temperature and then let it cool down, and when it's just about cool again, they'll put the fondant in there. I've never used the heat, so I've never used that method. But I just stick it in the oven with the light on overnight, and it dries perfect by the morning. Also, if you're running out of time, you can do that as well. That Tylose powder will help tremendously. So again, here's the bow. I'm gonna go ahead and stick him in the oven a little bit. Okay, so now while our ribbon is drying, I wanna go ahead and put the pearls on the side of the cake. So what you'll need is either some Crisco. Water will not work with these pearls. It'll just drip and fall down and look terrible, so don't use water. Piping gel or a little bit of Crisco. I have some piping gel here with a small tip brush, and I have some black sugar pearls that we're gonna put on the side. So usually start with putting some in the cap so you have them ready to use. And then take the piping gel. You don't need a lot, it's just enough to hold it in there. So what you're gonna do is just put it a little bit in each crevice here. I hope you enjoyed our video this evening on how to make a diamond pattern on the side of the cake with impression mat. If you do have any questions, leave them at the bottom in the comment section. This is Caking at Midnight, and happy caking.